Hey guys, Mr. Tabit here for you. Wanted to make you a tutorial video to go over this checkpoint here. As we're starting this new project, the big cognitive skill we're going to be working on is contextualizing sources. And so what's going to help us is going to be the acronym HAPPY. So if you remember this acronym, that's going to be a big help for you. So I put the cognitive skills up there so that you can kind of see what you're going to be scored on, what you want to be focusing on. So whenever we're looking at any source, and in the case of this assignment, it's going to be artwork, but the same concept works for writings, works for newspapers, works for videos, whatever the case might be. But you definitely want to be able to identify when and where something was created. That would be a very basic level. You move over, you're now talking about who created it. Getting further over, closer to the grade level we want you at, we're talking about perspective, the point of view. We'll talk about that more in a second. And the intended audience. So who are they trying to portray this for? And then as we move further over, we're now thinking not just when it was made, but what's going on in the world historically, what's going on politically, culturally that could um, at this time. Further over towards the top of our ninth grade scoring level, we're now looking at how does what's going on in the world at that time, that historical context, the maker's perspective, how does that affect the actual content of the source, what's being portrayed, what's not being portrayed, those kind of things. And you explain why that happened as we get further above, beyond even where we need you to be for this project. So the artwork that you're going to be evaluating at this time is a very famous one. It's from Norman Rockwell, and it's called Freedom from Want. Now, let me see here. Zoom out a little bit for you so we can see this a little bit more clearly. Okay, so the first thing you're going to do is you're just going to look at the picture and you're going to tell me, what do you see? What's the theme of it? Is it positive? Is it more negative? Those kind of things. What do you think the message the artist is trying to convey? And then over here, we'll get into some contextualization. If you need to see the image bigger, it is copied and pasted down here. So as I look at it, some things that I focus on that might include, well, it looks like it's a family Thanksgiving dinner. I see, you've got some older people, you've got some younger people. It seems to be pretty positive based on all the smiling I see. I would say this looks to be a fairly affluent family. They have nice clothes, seems like they have plenty of food. So those are all some potential things that I would mention. I'm also noticing that the family is entirely white, and so those are things that I would add to this first column here. Added some of that information we were just mentioning here in this describing columns. Again, just what's in the picture. So now I want to think about, okay, what's the message or the meaning of the arc? How does it appeal to the audience? So a couple of things that I'm thinking about as I'm looking at this. Okay, the message definitely seems to be positive. It seems to be very um, pro kind of, this is a happy thing, this is a good thing. It's also something that, a lot of people can probably relate to on some level. A lot of people have a Thanksgiving dinner. So my message is, you know, it's very positive, kind of very pro-America, because, places like this are obviously good. There's plenty of food, people are smiling, people are happy. So that's kind of the message of this artist. This family's got it pretty good. Your family can probably relate because you probably have a Thanksgiving dinner too. So that shows things are good for us. So that's the, kind of going into higher level thinking here. Now we want to do the big skill for this project, which is contextualizing our sources. And we're going to use the first part of the word happy. So we're going to talk about the historical context, what's going on in the time of this, the audience or intended audience, the purpose, and the point of view. Now you're not going to probably be able to get all of this by looking at the image. In fact, a lot of times you won't. You're going to need to do a little research about the picture or painting itself as well as the artist. So for historical context, the first thing I do see is I have a year indicated. So I definitely want to at least get a 1 on the scale. So I'm going to say it's 1943. So I just think, okay, what do I know? What in the world is going on in 1943? So this is during World War II. And the United States is involved in the war. Okay, I know that's what's going on. Um, there. So let me see what else I can kind of maybe figure out. And that's where I might be using these links here. So um, I need to now figure out who's the audience. Okay, so let's go to this freedom from want. We're gonna look for, okay, it is, the reading kind of get some information about this painting. I see, okay, it's gonna appear in the Saturday Evening Post, which I know is, we'll find pretty quickly is an American magazine. So what does it mean I know here for this chart? Well, it says that my audience or my intended audience, it's an American audience, particularly it's going to be the readers of um, the Saturday Evening Post. Less important than knowing that it's for an American audience. All right, so why do I think it was created? Well, I think it's created to give a positive image of America, inspire the country to fight for its traditions slash values. Okay, so that would be the purpose. Okay, and what is the point of view? Okay, this is where I want to get into information about the artist. So I would go to Norman Rockwell. So as I click on the little research there, Wikipedia is your friend for contextualizing sources. I see, okay, first off, he's American. He's born in New York. He is white. Okay, so that's going to be significant. And I'm also going to find out that he's a famous illustrator if I do a little bit of reading here. Okay, so I would say, Rockwell point of view again, we're looking at, knowing who the artist is great. He's an American, he's white, and that he's an illustrator. That's his job. So he has a skill set here, um, and he's working for a magazine company. So that's kind of the basic, and this will get you all the way over probably to a 5. Okay, certainly at least to a 4. As we're looking at that 5.5, that 6, that top points, that's where you really want to get into this why here. And I should note that there's another video here that'll kind of give you some more information on how you can maybe get there. But as we kind of think through this, you know, we're thinking, okay, what ideas are being promoted, what ideas are being highlighted, um, and themes. And also, part of perspective is also what are you not including? What perspective are you not giving? What are you not thinking about? So some things that we think about here with this painting. Well, we certainly think, you know, Rocco wants to show America as a positive place with plenty of food. This is clearly an American idea since at this time there were rations and hardship in Europe. So we know the United States is not as affected by World War II. Another thing we think about is Rockwell is appealing to primarily white America and doesn't focus on any issues of segregation. So we think about the things that are going on in the South at this time. Jim Crow laws, that's certainly not going to be included in here. That's part of this artist's perspective. Um, we certainly are going to see him, appealing to the idea of there's plenty of food, things are good in America. So that's kind of making those connections there by looking at either what's included or what has been omitted for it. What is this painting? So think about, okay, what does this painting tell you about the United States at this time? Well, it tells you that people are mostly optimistic and feeling good, and this may be a unique experience in the world at this time. Certainly, if I was in the Blitz in London, I wouldn't be feeling this way, or if I was in occupied France, I wouldn't be feeling this way. So that's kind of, again, making the connection between what's in the information to what we know about the maker. So hopefully this helps, guys. When you get this checkpoint done, don't forget to go ahead and submit it. And then you'll be ready to go on and use that same skill on your final product, the war through the lens of art and culture.